Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's the call. Come, my brother, come, my sister. Let us build a nation together. Grenada belongs to all of us, and we need to put our hands to the plow, put our hands to the wheel to ensure that this place we call home improves, develops. That is what we want to see. I want to welcome you to this segment in the program, and I am cognizant of the fact that we have people who listen to the nightly program and not the morning program, and people who listen to the morning program and not the nightly program. So I was on last night, right? And I did explain why I was absent for a number of days. I was not well. These days, every household seemed to have a problem with the flu, right? The cold, the flu, the sore throat, the coughing, that is pretty much around. So my house was affected. So I was not well for a number of days. But I am getting there step by step by step. It's just the coughing and the sore throat. It leaves you with that coughing and sore throat to deal with. So some people may have the coughing, some people may just have the sore throat. And because I depend on my throat, and also coughing is not good for radio. Anytime I cough and you're listening to me on the radio, you get a bang, right? So hence the reason I stayed away for a bit, trying to recuperate, trying to recover. And I'm not 100% there, but we have to keep the journey going. And I want to thank those who reached out, who wanted to know how I was doing, right? How things are going with me personally, not just the program. Because a lot of people are concerned about me not being on air, being on the program. So they're concerned about the program. But those who reached out and say, Kem Jones boy, how you and your family going? That is significant. I want to also acknowledge my good friend Tevin Andrews, who reached out. And that says a lot about the mettle of the man, about the individual who did reach out and say, Kem Jones, well, how you doing? How your family going? And then I explained by telling them, well, look, I had the flu and the cold and so on, But that is what it is. We have to go through that in life. And because I am doing this solo, and which is the better way to do it, when you have people in your business and all over your stuff, it tends to be messy. So again, I want to thank all who reached out. And that was really important. A lot of people called. I did not answer the call because I had a problem with sore throat. So answering all the calls and telling everybody the same thing would lead to me not improving, right? Everybody calling and I have to tell them the same thing. So I do apologize to the many people who called and I did not answer you, all right? Let's move on. Folks, I told you there are a lot of people out here who believe in telling half-truths because they believe there are a lot of people who listen to radio, listen to TV, follow podcasts, live streaming, and so on, and they are not fully aware of what is taking place or what took place. They are not historians. They forget things quite quickly. So they go out there and they throw things in the public domain, thinking that somebody will not red flag it. They're telling half truths, or they're intentionally misinforming the general public. They're disingenuous, or maybe they just have an agenda, or some sinister intent. But we are here to expose it. Look, I listen attentively to this live piece that Brian Grimes did. And you know, Brian Grimes is the president of the Public Workers Union. I listened attentively to that live stream from his page talking about the wage negotiation. By now, you know, the teachers sign on to an agreement with government, and currently you have the Public Workers Union, you have Gary Union, I think GM something, 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 police, prison, and TAU, or one or two of the others, I think about 6 of them. They are negotiating together, but police and prison, they're only negotiating for 2024 and 2025, I think, because they already negotiated for 2023. So Brian Grimes, in speaking, advance the reasons why they're where they are with the negotiation. He used words to the effect that the workers that the PWU represents or represent, these workers, they are saying negotiate for more. And the reason why you should negotiate for more is because of inflation, the rate of inflation, high cost of living, and then he spoke about the increase that ministers got. And that is what I want to address. But when they spoke about high cost of living, I was like, okay, they forget all that this government did for them in 9 months. The government rolled out $30 million of relief measures when it comes to cost of living. Cost of living relief measures, $30 million in many different areas. VAT removed on X, Y, and Z food items, and we can go on and on. The government also forgo millions by reducing the VAT on electricity consumption, and also giving a subsidy of $10. So no longer would the same public officers be paying 15% VAT on electricity. They will be paying 7.5%. No longer will they be out of this whole $10 subsidy. They will be collecting that subsidy. And if $30 million cost of living relief measures will have impacted them and will continue to impact them positively, the same public officers, right? The cess, $15 million, impacted them also, because a number of them benefited from that. If not directly, their family members benefited from that same program, expanding their businesses, starting up their businesses. The $75.1 million in retroactive pension and gratuity benefited public servants who worked hard for the state, were not getting it under the NNP, but when the NDC came in, they paid the retroactive pension and gratuity of $75.1 million. Public officers who retired and were not getting that money, they benefited. The nurses who got $500 allowance added to their salary. That's public officers that the Public Workers Union represent. Come on. The $30,000 unsecured loan at the Grenada Development Bank, right? That money is made available to public officers, right? Because it's an unsecured loan, and you have to just show that you're collecting a salary on a monthly basis. So they were getting that kind of assistance that the government rolled out. The government rolled out that program. And I'm asking myself, why? Why they're talking about this whole cost of living issue? Yes, we know that cost of living is affecting all countries in the region and the world. But this government did stuff to alleviate, to ease up the burden. It's not like they didn't do anything. They did stuff to help you. You're not acknowledging that. You're not seeing that as important. So if they didn't do it, you enjoy uh, gasoline at really reduced cost for months when the NDC came into power. For months, $11 and cents and whatever. You didn't acknowledge that. You didn't appreciate that. But you see, they know that Grenadians forget things quickly. That is why they're playing on that whole thing there. They know that. They're fully aware of that. So the whole issue of cost of living, I mean, yes, it has some merit to be on the table, but you have to be real with people. The government did a number of things to ease up the burden when it comes to cost of living, right? Inflation, I agree. But look, the teachers agreed to 13%, 4, 4, 5 over the 3-year period. They agreed. So what, you're smarter than the teachers? What you're more skillful in negotiating than the teachers, the Grenada Union of Teachers? I'm asking myself. I'm asking the question. But here it is. What really tipped the thing for me was when Brian Grimes spoke about this $2,000 increase that he claimed the ministers took, right, when they came into government within a couple of months, this $2,000 increase. And I said to myself, but wait, if he's talking about this $2,000 increase, and that's really and truly traveling allowance that they're given, if he's talking about that, he must also compare what existed under the NNP. So you cannot just say, well, ministers got $2,000 increase on their salary just like that. Just make a blanket statement like that, right? Because you're leaving people who don't know to believe that they got something more or they're benefiting more by this move when it is far from the truth. Under the NNP, ministers were assigned a driver. Right now, under the NDC, the majority of the ministers, they are driving themselves. They are not assigned a driver. Some decided to use that same $2,000 allowance to hire a driver, but not taxpayers' additional money. Right? So I think about 2 of them, 2 or 3 of them. But it's the same $2,000. It's not anything additional. But remember, under the NNP, taxpayers' money was used to pay the drivers of those ministers. And in some instances, they were being paid up to $2,000 per month. $1,800, $1,900, $2,000 per month, the drivers. It's amazing. And then, remember, the ministers with that driver, they were free to go to the central police station and get gas without paying. The taxpayers had to pay for the gas. And on a monthly basis, it would amount to almost $3,000, $3,500 in some instances. And they could have gone to the central police station at different intervals and just collect gas. And they could go with different vehicles. And many of them had 3 and 4 vehicles. So it is disingenuous to say, well, when they come into power, they took a $2,000 increase. The government is saving more, far more. In fact, I was not pleased with the move that the NDC made. I thought the NDC was being too kind and too nice. They should have just kept a driver for all the ministers. They should have just kept the free gas going to the central police station and taking the free gas. And then it would not have been an issue, although I believe it still would have been an issue because the measuring stick they use for the NDC is always different for the NNP. NNP could get away with anything in this country, but the NDC, they have to, play priest and play pastor and play nice and play fair and play, that is how they always see the NDC. As being honest, as being sincere, as being genuine, as being. But the NNP, they could do any old thing in this country and get away with it. But let me play for you what Brian Grimes had to say, because I am a big on facts.
Food tastes the same. Certain basic things are required no matter who is in power, and that's the way I operate. Now, when the current group of politicians came into power and they, through their efforts in terms of campaigning, convincing the general public that they are the best choice to govern this country, convincing public officers that things will be better, convincing the unions that things will be better, and the unions believing in that promise, they came into power. But within, I would say, about 2 months of coming into power, they gave themselves an increase, right? They gave themselves an increase. And that increase would amount to $24,000 per annum, if I'm not mistaken. So about $2,000 extra a month. And
the leader of a union, the Grenada Public Workers Union. This guy is out there giving people the impression that this $2,000 increase, as he claimed, right, traveling allowance, quote unquote, it's traveling allowance, that, in some way it's a benefit. It's not a benefit to these ministers. I can tell you that. If they kept what the NNP had in place, right? If they had kept what the NNP had in place, having a driver assigned to those ministers and paying them the $2,000 monthly, right? A driver. They paying the driver taxpayers' money. And then they were going to the central police station to get the free gasoline on a daily basis. And mind you, when we do the calculation, it adds up, particularly when a month has 5 weeks, it adds up to $3,500 just in gas alone. Only in gasoline alone. So if you add gas plus the driver under the NNP era, right, or time, era, right, under the NNP era or time, you would come up to about $5,000 for traveling alone. But under the NDC, they gave the ministers $2,000. They have to drive for themselves, and if they have to get a driver, that same $2,000 have to go towards paying that driver on a monthly basis. That same $2,000 out of that $2,000. And they have to buy gas out of that same $2,000 on a monthly basis. So it is disingenuous to give people the impression, give workers the impression, well, these guys took a $2,000 increase and it's somewhat beneficial and it's costing government more. It is not. It's costing government less, because if they had kept what the NNP had in place, it would have been a different ball game. But let's continue to hear him.
That is understood to a degree. It is understood because my understanding is the parliamentarians' pay in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique is very low compared to what's happening regionally. So they gave themselves an increase based on, I expect, cost of living issues. And it's not a simple increase, $2,000 per month, which amounts to, if you do the maths, right, $24,000 per annum. So that is pretty significant, and that will be, and we are happy for them, and that will be indicative of the fact that, you know, everything has gone up, and they, even though they are probably at the higher end of society in terms of their salaries generally, you know, it's at the higher end, and they have a lot of work to do and things of that nature. They still saw it fit to give themselves significant increases shortly after the intro to the corridors of power in this country.
Right.
Right?
And you listen to that line? Will go out there and give people that impression. Because look, if he was genuine, he would compare what the NNP ministers enjoyed and what the NDC ministers are now getting. But you see, NDC goodness does come back to bite them. They're too nice. They're too kind. They're about Grenada. They want good for Grenada. So what they did is to cut all this waste, you know, try to cause taxpayers to save. And it's coming back to bite them because you have the NNP saying the same thing that Brian Grimes is saying. Brian Grimes is using the same lingo, and a number of others. They're using the same thing over and over because they believe if they say these things over and over and over, people then will believe it's true. But any reasonable thinking person will make the comparison in the right way. The right way. You have NDC in power now. You have NNP who was in power only recently, 9-10 months ago. Come on. But somebody has to call him out. And I'm happy I'm here to call him out on it because he believes that he was able to get that across to people. Because I followed what was going on. And there are people who are commenting and applauding and thanking him for talking about these things. But if you dive deeper, you'd realize that the guy is disingenuous when it comes to that particular matter. You can't tell me that the NNP ministers, they had a driver assigned to them. Tell me which one of them were without a driver. And the driver was paid by taxpayers. I could remember Yolan Bain, for example, having the short guy, right? The short guy, short fair skin guy. He used to be driving Keats when he was out of office too. Short little fella. I could remember Nikki Steele driver. I could remember Cox and all the different people. I could remember them, right? Peter David had this guy from the Carnage there. I could remember all of them. I could remember Alvin Dabrio. They were assigned a driver. They had a driver paid by taxpayers. Taxpayers' money every month. And they were still allowed to go in the central police station and fuel up their vehicle on a daily basis. And in some cases, they go twice per day with different vehicles because they had no limitations as to what vehicle could come and full up. As long as they go, they full up. Right? I am saying that when you calculate that, it in some cases, because you could do the math, if you say, well, boy, on a daily basis, they would take $100 worth of gas. We could be conservative. It might be more. But let's say they take $100. And really and truly, $100 can't fool up these kind of gas guzzlers that they had. But let's say $100, right? Monday to Friday. Just being reasonable, because they can go on a Saturday, they can go on a Sunday and full up. But we're just saying Monday to Friday. That's if you have a month with 4 weeks. That's already $2,000 in gas. $2,000 taxpayers' money, $2,000. And then the driver, $2,000. That's $4,000. Excuse me. It is disingenuous to come to the public and give people the impression that what the NDC did with the $2,000 traveling allowance is some benefit or something extra. It's not. In fact, if those ministers, if the NDC had kept the same thing that the NNP had in place, where they will assign a driver and free gas at the central police station, free for them, but not free for the taxpayers, because we taxpayers have to pay for it, right? The tax payers would have lose more, meaning government had to pay more, they had to fine more. Right now, the ministers, nearly all of them, driving their vehicle, right? They're driving their own vehicle to go about and do everything. One or two of them, they're using the $2,000 to hire a driver and pay gas and buy gas with it. You know, fight up and buy gas with it. That is what they're doing, you know. Nothing extra. Nothing extra. So it's disingenuous for Brian Grimes, who is the leader of a union, and they're actually negotiating on those grounds. They put forward these three things, you know, they're saying these are the concerns that the workers have, and they're asking government for more. Inflation, the rate of inflation, cost of living, and the $2,000 increase that they claim ministers got, right? As though it's something extra. It's a big joke. It's a big joke. I explained to you the kind of cost of living relief measures that the government implemented and put in place, and all the workers are benefiting from it. And now I speak to you about the whole issue of this $2,000 increase that they're talking about. It's a sham. It's a farce. But, boy, they do these things in this country and they get away with it. Because nobody around them will tell them, but wait, under the NNP, it was way more advantageous to the public purse, right? It was way more costly to the public purse under the NNP when they had a driver assigned to those ministers and they were getting the free gas. But I am here and I'm happy I can speak about this and educate my listeners and viewers so you will know that what the government did, the NDC did, is way better for the public purse than under the NNP. But again, my personal view, my personal position was just go with what the NNP had. A driver assigned for all the ministers and free gasoline for all the ministers anytime they wanted, because that is what was existing under the NNP. They should have just left that there. And yes, they would have gotten blows anyways from the same set of people. But now they do something good for Grenada to save taxpayers thousands of dollars. You can't see that. You can't see that. Something has to be wrong. But let's move on. Folks, I continue to see Sheldon Scott is on radio, on his podcast, pushing an NNP narrative and agenda many a times. He spins stuff, he twists stuff, everything the government does, he tries to come up with something to make people have doubts and believe otherwise and all kind of stupidness. But this guy, Sheldon Scott, don't forget him, you know. this guy admitted to wrongdoing. He was employed with the New National Party, not the government of Grenada. And for almost 3 years, his cell phone number was assigned to a government plan, and taxpayers' money was used to pay his cell phone bill. And in 3 months, his cell phone bills added up or amounted to almost $70,000 in 3 months. Just think about the 3 years. But here it is. He's still on radio attacking government on nearly everything. Everything they talk about. Imagine what this guy is saying about a new climate smart hospital that the NDC intends to undertake and construct. Listen attentively to what he had to say.
Facility there. Yeah, several times I've said it to you that the intention is to sell the space where the general hospital is, put a hotel and casino there, and to relocate the hospital to another location. Now, just about 2-3 weeks ago, you had the Prime Minister, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, and a technical team from the ministry, the Ministry of Works and others going out to visit a site in Calavini. I think it's about 90 acres or something like that, owned by Mr. Leroy Nichols. And so
right. So this guy is saying, okay, we saw you go and visit this site, and he used words to the effect that the reason why they're doing that to set up this climate smart new teaching hospital facility is because he used words to the effect that they want to sell where the old hospital is, and they want to set up this and set up that there. And then he goes into this blue growth thing that the NNP had, not the NDC. The NDC never adopted this thing, but he's using that to justify NDC moving to get something better. We know what PAHO and what the WHO said about this hospital facility. It's just in the wrong place. Everything is corroded. Everything is rusting, right? The sea blasts and so on. You can't get parking, to go up those steps, and it's just one road in, one road out. You don't have a helipad, a whole pile of stuff. But this guy's out there twisting these things, right? And that is why people say, well, the NDC seem to be so good and so kind. This guy is guilty of having taxpayers' money pay his cell phone bills for almost 3 years, working with the New National Party, a political party. He ain't go to jail. He was not arrested. He was not charged. He was nothing. So he's emboldened. He's on radio attacking Andy, attacking Ron, attacking everybody. In fact, listen to him, because it's important, Here is him again. It's important because it seems as though the NDC is not doing anything about it.
We don't know. There has been a situation on the port of St. George where goods, articles have been leaving the port and coming out without going through the due diligence system, where what's supposed to be foodstuff, but we don't know what else has been in between there, have been leaving the port of St. George, coming off the port of St. George, and that the proper checks and balances were not taking place. We are saying simply that has to be investigated and has to be looked into. We are also hearing that a particular government minister, sitting government minister, in particular, we are hearing allegations that it is the MP for St. George South has been involved in such activity. We're hearing those allegations, and we're saying investigations need to uncover who were involved and not just try to penalize one person who is working on the port, but the people who were involved otherwise.
Yeah, that's Sheldon Scott, calling for investigation, calling for this, calling for that. Sheldon Scott, the same guy. He has been emboldened, and only, Jamaicans and Trinis and Bajans that are so bold-faced. Here is this guy calling for investigation. And I'm asking myself, what is the NDC doing as it relates to cell phone gate? This guy came out and admitted to wrongdoing. Taxpayers lost thousands and thousands of dollars. Right? This guy has to pay that money back. In fact, he should be arrested and charged, in my belief. But you allow this guy to just be free. So he feels emboldened. He's now attacking Andy and calling for investigation. But not only Andy, not only, you see, these things does make me angry because he's out there attacking ministers, right? Our ministers of government and so on. And it's like he's free to do it, right? No investigation on him. Nobody doing what he's supposed to do to have him pay. So you as a NDC supporter is now saying, but wait, this guy's untouchable? It seems as though he's untouchable. But somebody leaked something in the ministry only recently, and they call them up and they put them before the Public Service Commission and something like that, right? But here you have a situation where the evidence is a lot against this guy. Look him attacking Ron again.
People going to forget. No, I'm not forgetting. I am not forgetting. To this point in time, we have not heard Miss the Mount Pure lady, former senator. We have not heard her speaking on this issue. So we do not know. We do not know her side of the story because she has not said anything. So we are unaware of whether or not what we've been hearing is truthful from her side. We heard that there was supposed to be a joint statement. It seems as though something is wrong because we can't get the joint statement up to now. We have not been able to hear any joint statement up to this point in time as to what happened in relation to the sale of that vehicle. Nothing. All right? But they feel that we're going to just drop the story, so we're just supposed to drop it. And they believe that that is the type of people that Grenadians are. But they feel that we're going to just drop the story, so we're just supposed to drop it. And they believe that that is the type of people that Grenadians are. That we start speaking about something, and after a while, we just drop the story, so it's all well and okay and hunky-dory to just continue in the way that you were going. Remember?
Right, you see? He's bold. He's brazen. This guy is now openly saying, investigate this, investigate that. But look, what's about him? And I'm calling on the NDC. If you understand politics, you must know that there is enough evidence to investigate and have this guy charged by law enforcement. Because look, you're making our work difficult. And government could do everything they want to do out there. But you have these kind of guys out there, and you don't hold them accountable, they will come back to hunt you. I'm telling you this. Don't fool yourself. He's speaking to the NNP base. And the NNP, you could go to sleep, you could wake up. The NNP has about 28 to 30,000 people who support them and who will forever support them. Jump higher, jump low. You could do what? You could perform excellently in government. You could work magic. they will still support the NNP. He's communicating with these people, indoctrinating them, spinning everything that the government does, in my belief, and throwing it out there, right? But look at what he did to taxpayers' money. So you're not going to hold him accountable? When you will do that, you will do it coming to the next election? Huh? Come on. What is this? Every night this guy's on, or every other night or whatever, on his podcast and on radio, pushing this misinformation and so on. What is this? And then you just allow it? That's politics? That's governance? You just allow it? No accountability, no nothing? So then somebody else could do the same thing and get away with it then? Once it's government, you could do anything and get away with it? In 3 months, this man's phone bill was almost $70,000. Think about 3 years of using that same cell phone and that number. What it would be, what it would look like. And remember, government was paying every month. This guy was not employed with government at the time. He was employed with a New National Party, a political party. So I am calling on the NDC to do what they're supposed to do. That is what it's supposed to be. You can't, if it was Kem Jones and NNP was in power, I would have been locked up and thrown in jail and maybe without even a trial. If NNP was in power and I did such a thing, I could tell you, this is not no guess game. So this is a nice thing, and that is why they always take advantage of the NDC. Public servants, those at police, prison office, just name it. You know, under the NNP, the police used to salute when they see ministers of government, showing respect. Under the NDC, what? They pass them straight. They don't respect them. They don't respect them, period. 1 or 2 might do it. But the police officers, during the NNP time, you telling me they would pass and not salute those ministers of government? You joking. You making a mistake. Way. But under NDC way, they just walk over them. They always disrespect the NDC's ministers of government and the NDC. They do anything to the NDC because they believe they could just trample on them. They could just walk over them and nothing would happen. Nobody will go to jail. Nobody will be arrested. Nobody will be charged. Nothing will happen. They could do anything and get away. Because they always see the NDC as not investigating, not holding anybody accountable there. So the NNP, they could do all kind of nastiness. When the NDC get in power, it's all okay. Nothing will happen. But we are saying this guy feels emboldened. He feels like a strong man. So he's calling for investigation of every other thing. Investigate, and he say investigate Andy, investigate Ron, investigate this and investigate that matter, and investigate this that matter. But when it comes to him, he's Superman. He's a hero. Because he was able to get away with this thing right here in Grenada. Right here. Right? Only a Trini, a Jamdong, or a Beji could do this thing and still feel brave and bold. And look at this guy. He's on that program every night or every other night or whatever. This his schedule. And the guy, he just going on and twisting everything. It's amazing. Only in Grenada this thing could happen. Only in Grenada. But guess, when it comes closer to the election, they would investigate. Yeah, maybe. That's not politics. You're mad or what? You could be governing and doing all kind of nice things in government. I'm telling you, you have to hold these people accountable. Hold them accountable. There's enough evidence to hold this guy accountable. Why are you not doing it? Huh? So he's untouchable? He's untouchable? Something ain't right. Well, you have somebody's secret or something or what? Something ain't right. And I'm saying this because you reach to that point and you're saying, but wait, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, what? You waiting for 2 years, 3 years? If NNP was in power and Kim Jones was guilty of this thing, I would have been in jail. I would have been in jail long time. I'm telling you, we need to see movements where that is concerned. And nobody will come and tell me about the strategic and the taking time and nonsense, rubbish. Keep that damn thing for yourself. Keep that rubbish for yourself. It's long overdue. It's 9-10 months going on. Come on, give me a damn break with this stupidness about the waiting and the this and the nonsense. Update the damn general public on it. Update the general public on the matter of Sheldon Scott. I don't understand how a man could be punching you and coughing you up so on radio and on social media and his podcast and so on, and he's guilty as hell, right? Regarding cell phone gate and the amount of bills he rack up as working with the NNP party and not government, and government taxpayers' money go towards paying it for him, and then he's still there and he's all cool. Nobody held accountable. No, what is this? Update the general public on this. We need to hear something. We can't be going down this road so everybody believe they could just shaft government, taxpayers, and get away with it. No, this damn stupidness has to stop, and we have to call it out, right? And don't come and talk about strategic and they taking the time and they give me a break with this damn stupidness now. These things have to stop, and you got to put a stop to this thing. It's what it is. You can't have a person, the man coughing you, pulling you, kicking you, attacking your ministers, attacking this and then you look back and you say, but wait, this guy cost taxpayers thousands and thousands of dollars. He admitted to the wrongdoing and nothing is happening. Huh? Stop it. We got to sort out this thing. That's politics in small island states. Sort it out. That's what it is. Come on. You don't understand what's going on here, you know. Whoever controls the media controls the narrative in this country, you know. Why every little thing that the NDC does, even if it's good, it becomes controversial and it becomes an issue. The bi-monthly pay, the retroactive pension, everything becomes an issue. The NNP still controls the narrative in this country. Don't fool yourself. Yes, Kim Jones trying morning and night, but it's still, GIS can't do it. People don't, you ask people, do you even look at GIS? They tell you no. You look at GIS numbers, all you need to do, just go on GIS and just look at the numbers. That's all you need to do. You don't have to be a genius. Go there and look at the numbers of their programs. Go and look at it. People don't look at GIS on TV, really. Who does that? Right? It's what it is. Just go and look at the numbers. All you need to do, you go on Facebook, look at the numbers. Look at it. Look at it. Just look at the numbers. All you need to do. Look, 1,100 people, 3,000 something people, 1,500 people, 2,800 people, 2,200 people on Facebook, for example. Excuse me. Right? 434 people, 719 people. Look at it, 1,900 people. Look at it. Look at the numbers. People don't look. People don't go and look at GIS and these things, even on Facebook, unless it's something dramatic. Nothing like that. The numbers are very poor. And then you look at the heartbeat program, right? NDC heartbeat program. All you need to do is just go and look at the numbers. That's all you need to do, you know. It's a numbers game. It is a numbers game. That's what it is. What do you depend on to get your message out? What do you depend on to get your message out? Just go and look at the numbers. I am a person who look at numbers. Look at it, right? Heartbeat program, 6,000 something people. You talking about a population of 6,000 something people, right? One of those heartbeat program, 5,000 something people, 3,200 and something people. 4,600 and something people. We could go 5,400 people, 3,400 people, and 2,000 some. Come on, look at the numbers. If you can't see the numbers, then something wrong. Something is wrong. Something is terribly. You just go on the viewership and you look at the numbers, and you look at both ways: YouTube, Facebook. Yes, some of the programs are carried on radio, but look at the time. For example, the heartbeat on a Sunday, people in church. In church. So I am saying it's a numbers game in this business. So you have a lot of NNP, goons and surrogates and supporters calling the Plead Your Cause program in the morning, prime time, right? Pushing the hearsay, the them say, and they think and they allege and they all kind of stupidness every morning, right? KB and Carl Caton up north on a Sunday, and then I think during the week, Wednesdays and so on, Carl Caton. Then you have the Sheldon Scott. Pretty much every other night or every night or whatever his schedule is, pushing that narrative. Then you have Kalistra and Jenny on a Wednesday, right? And on Kalistra's program, generally speaking, the people she bring on as guests on that program is really anti in many instances, right? And then you look at some of those newspapers, right? Put aside the New Today, but the others, you look at it, you read the articles and you check out what's going down. You just check out what's going down. You just have to just check out. I'm not saying that all of these people are NNP, no, but I'm saying when you listen to the content and what they're pushing, it's anti-government many a times. And that is what it is. So the narrative, so they control the narrative. Because once you control the media, you control the narrative. It's what it is. So you're doing a lot of good things, a lot of nice things, but your message not getting out. It's not getting out. And any little thing, excuse me, becomes a biggie. Any little thing becomes a controversy or some kind of thing. And they have mediums to send those misinformation out. And that's the reality that we face. It's what it is. We got to take stock. Because that is the same thing that happened during 2008 to 2013. If you're not a historian, if you can't learn from history, something wrong. It's a similar thing that happened during 2008, 2013. And as I said last night, folks, do not attack people who are expressing themselves as it relates to how they feel regarding government, especially if they were part and parcel of the operation. When you attack these people, you're giving more fire to whatever they have. So sometimes you have to listen to them. There are people out there who are hurting, who are feeling it, who are going through a period. Not everybody going to look for something, but there are some people who are in need or who looking for something. Politics is about establishing relationships and maintaining relationships. So you have to be very cautious and very careful how you deal with things, right? We may not be happy with the medium in which certain people use to get their message out or to vent or to express themselves, right? But we have to sometimes get to understand them. It will take some time for some people, but it could take some time, but that time is important to understand where the people are coming from. Some people. Because if you believe you have seen it all, give it between now and the next 3-4 years, you would have more people like that coming out and expressing their feelings and how they see things. So it is important to understand certain things, right? Listen and understand. It's not good always to just attack some of these people. Sometimes it's good to reach out. Sometimes it's good to get from them why you're doing this, why you're saying these things, right? Because in the medium to long term, you need everybody who supported you and who worked for you in different areas and different, ends to come on board to get you victory again. Government alone wouldn't do it. You could perform well in government. It requires the politics and strategy and tactics. It's important. So it's all easy for you to come down on a person. But if you understand where the person is coming from, right? Everybody may not want something. For example, I don't want anything. I did this because I wanted Grenada to be in different hands and move forward be transformed. And, I want a new team to be there, bringing prosperity and opportunities to people. And I want the people who are victimized, ostracized, treated badly, the NDC supporters and so on, who are treated badly, ostracized, victimized, and so on for the many, many, many years. I want them to be happy again. I want them to be treated fairly. I want them to see the light of day. That's what I wanted. And I get that, right? I see that happening. You understand the point? So everybody somewhat different. But you have to understand, folks, it's not, everybody wouldn't be like me. And if I am a skillful politician, meaning if you have skillful politicians out there, tactical and strategic politicians, they would still come and reach out to Kem Jones and say, Kem Jones, but yes, I hear you say you don't want X, you don't want Y, but how can we enhance what you have? How can we help? How can we, do certain things to enhance your product and enhance what you have? That's what skillful politicians do. So even if they hear, well, Kem Jones don't want this and he don't want that and he's not asking for this, he's not asking for that, tactical and skillful politicians will reach out still and see how they can. That's what good politicians do. People who have political life, who looking down the road. Do you understand the point? So again, it's not good to just attack. Listen and find out where. Because a person speak the first time, they speak the second time, they speak the third time, they're sending you a message. They're saying certain things, and they might be expressing the sentiments of others, right? And that is key. So you have to understand them and see where they're coming from. Everybody we know cannot get to work. Everybody we know cannot be in government and so on. Everybody we know cannot, certain things. But you have to be deeper, right? You have to be deeper to understand certain situations and where people are coming from. It requires that, because you would need those people down the road to assist you. Because it's not to say that it's people who just wake up and say, well, these are people who've been around. These are people who've been in the vineyard, right? When everybody was ducking and hiding and bathing and weaving. These people were there. So it's important that we understand where they're coming from and listen to them and see how we can mitigate, how we can help, right? As we move forward. It is important. Very, very important. You may not like everything about the person. There are a lot of people who don't like me. There are some people who love me. But at the end of the day, we're looking at down the road, right? Down the road. How many years from today? 4 years from today. And it might be even shorter. Because the election could be called 4 years and a half. Down the road. Can't be too overconfident. No. Because remember, folks, the NDC won by just about 3,000 something votes. Don't fool yourself, Don't fool yourself. And there are still some marginal seats. There are some candidates who became ministers this time around, and they will not be in the next election. Because they would not be viable next election to run in those constituencies. You understand? That's politics. But not because you run this time and you win, it means that you go run again next time. You're unpopular, people not seeing you, people like and you understand the point, right? That's what it is in the politics. It's still close. And I go around and I interact with people and I listen to people who supported the NDC, who voted for the NDC. And I listen to them. I would not express what they're telling me, but I know fully well what's going down in a lot of those constituencies and the marginal constituencies. I know. And when you're the incumbent, you tend to lose votes faster than gain. So you have to build relationships and maintain relationships and expand on that. Politics is a different ball game, right? It requires tactics. It requires strategy. It requires knowing and understanding. Look, there are people, for example, who, when they listen to me, the last election, in the build-up to the last election, months and months before the last election, when those people were not around, right? All the new folks, they were not around yet. And I said, register. And pick up your phone, those in America, Canada, England, all over the place, and call your family members. You give them barrels. you give them clothes, you give them food, you give them money. Pick up that phone, call them and get them to register. And not only that, get them to go out and vote. Activate them. They might be registered already and they have not voted for a number of elections. Get them to vote. A lot of these people did that. Get their family members and so on to go and vote and go and get registered. A lot of these people, thousands and thousands of them, they listened and they did that. So it's you know, you have to understand. It's not just the 15 people who are candidates, right? It's not just the young team that were pulled together just before the election. It's more than that. It's a whole team effort, and we need everybody on board, right? We need everybody on board because remember, the next election is not far away. It's not far away. It will take some time, but we will get there. So we have to understand where certain people are coming from. How do we connect? How do we reach out? That's the art of politics. We saw during the NNP time, for example, there were some people who were bitter and angry with Keith and the NNP. What did the NNP do? That's between 2008, 2013, 2018. What they do? They reached out. They connected with them. And they made them happy. And you want to hear from them again at all. Yeah? That's tactics. That's strategy. Right? They reach out. They connected. It might be tough. It might be difficult to do. But you have to do it. They reached out. And they were able to connect. Some get positions, some get work, some get opportunities, some was just happy just to be engaged. And then everything nice and dandy. So politics requires strategy. So not everything, somebody come out and speak and talk about their feelings and how they, you attack them and you're this. No. You have to be strategic. You have to be tactical. That's politics. Some people don't understand. Some people understand governance. They understand running a business. They understand running some department or some ministry. But politics is more than that. You have to build relationships and you have to maintain relationships. That's important. Sometimes I sit and I say, certain small things, we could work it out. We could send people to connect and see how they can, make it boil over and over and over, right? There are people who will be, unhappy with certain things. And there are certain people who will be happy with certain things. Don't run away from that, right? I have seen disgruntled NNP supporters during 2013, 2018. And around the election time, a year or two before the election, I see them back on track. Happy and, for example, this guy, BJ, for example. I mean, is what Keith and do that guy? Is what Keith and do that guy in my belief? He used to walk there and they take him from there and they put him there and is what he and do him in my belief? Right? But the biggest advocate for them now is the same BJ. Yeah. And you wonder, well, what happened? What happened? Engage. There must be something there that could connect you and that person. There must be something common between you and that person. How can you quietly work it out? How can you quietly deal with these things? Right? A gentleman met me, say, boy, a campaign, I do this, I do that. And all I need is just a little work, security thing or whatever. And I pick up the phone and I call. And I say, hey, partner, boy, you could set up a man with a little security work? You could talk about NDC in front of that man now? No. He cussing you. He like the NDC, oh God. All what he needed was a little security thing. That's all. So sometimes you have to engage. You have to engage. You have to be able to connect and speak and listen to certain people. It's not all quick to attack and attack and attack. It takes sometimes more than that. Tactic, strategy. Right? Because you might be okay. There are some people, they in the thing for country and but there are some people they're in need. Some people want, assistance, some kind of, help in certain ways. Everybody not the same. Everybody not the same. Right? It's so important. Engage. It's simple. It don't take much. You could be all high with power, right? You're minister this and minister that, and you look at how some of those ministers of the past come. They were ministers too. Minister of this and minister of that, and some of them, they were even there longer as ministers than you. Let's face it. They walk in the road now, people even recognizing them. So all these power and all these things is temporary. Temporary. So you have to go down and engage. Everybody would not be happy with everything that you do. But your supporters, your people, who are an asset to you and who have always been an asset to you, got to engage them. Right? You got to connect. You have to be able to relate. You have to be able to reach out. It requires that. That's politics. It's a chessboard move you have to make sometimes. Because these things are just temporary. 3-4 years pass, and then you have to go back to these same people. And it might be too late. Try now. Let's reach out. Let's connect. There are a lot of our supporters out there who are not totally happy. Some of them might be happy. That's good. But those who are not happy, let's see how we can relate, how we can connect, how we can communicate, how we can connect with these people. Because everybody's not in the same boat. There's some people who have been victimized for many, many years under the NNP. Now they see their party in power and nothing has changed for them. They're in the same position, even worse, because the people, knowing that they're NDC and they're still head of department, they're pressuring them. I know that personally. Engage, connect, listen, see what can be done to remedy stuff. It's not all smooth. Every day, every night, we can still reach out. We can still connect. And politics is about building relationships. Politics is about maintaining it. Right? You have to build relationships and you have to maintain relationships. That is important. And not everybody could do that. Not everybody could do that. There are a lot of people out there who could manage a business or manage a department. But when it comes to building relationships, and I talked about that last night, you see a lot of those doctorates people, they are doctorate, they are first degree, they are master's degree, all the academics, the front and center. Many of these people don't even know their neighbor's name, the names of their neighbors. They live in isolation. They have their big house, plenty land. They go home and they don't even know who their neighbors are. They don't. It's what it is. Right? It's amazing. Amazing. Just think about it. Yes, the big doctorate and big brighty. They can't get you any votes. They can't win an election for you. They don't even, you ever see them on the block? You ever see them in a shop? You ever see them at a sports meet? You ever see them at some community volunteering event? You ever see them anywhere there? No. They can't get you to win the election. It's the ordinary, simple people that will go there and vote for, and in some cases, they don't even vote. They don't even vote. Them and their family, they could care less. I'm telling you. So all the rich boys and the, and the brighty, you see them, they front end, they have big positions now and they this and they that now. But never forget the ordinary man, the ordinary supporters who don't have a first degree or a second degree or a doctorate or whatever. Don't forget them. They could get you far more among the votes than these so-called brighty. I'm telling you, it requires strategy, it requires tactics. Everybody fronting, everybody lining up, everybody want this, everybody want that. Because they have doctorates and they say they qualify and they're competent and they this. You see them every day. Don't forget your ordinary people who don't have those things, but they have the links, the connection. People respect them. People look up to them. They can convince people to vote and support you. Don't forget these people. Folks, I want to thank you for being a part of the program this morning. Just getting started, huh? All right, coming back after that, flu and so on day. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program. I want to wish you all the best. Take good care. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
The proceeding was a paid program. The views expressed on this program are those of the host